The New York Mets and the Texas Rangers just made a pretty wild and unexpected trade. What's up, everybody, and welcome into Bad for Baseball, the baddest baseball podcast on the internet. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlock, joined alongside by Adam Peddle. In this one, we're going to be breaking down the most recent move in the whole free agency, trade, frenzy, whatever you want to call it, between the Mets and the Rangers. Brandon Nimmo goes one way, felt like a key piece over there for the New York Mets, and Marcus Semien, who has been a key piece for the Texas Rangers for a long period of time, goes the other way. The rare one-for-one deal. No, I guess prospects or any other type, I guess minor compensation. But we'll get into all of it, folks. If you haven't already done so, hit that like, smash the subscribe button. Let us know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below. Let's get immediately over to that trade. It's a pretty easy tweet to break down because it is just a one-for-one.
Yeah, basically, right? Obviously, like you said, New York Mets and Texas Rangers are finalizing a trade that would have second baseman Marcus Semien to the Mets and the outfielder Brandon Nimmo to the Rangers. Now, we'll get into our overall feelings later, but I think we should just break down the details of this first, because immediately when I saw that tweet, I'm thinking, okay, what the heck? You have kind of two guys that both had $100 million plus contracts at one point, and they're both kind of, setting off into the sunset in the second half of their careers. But let's get into the details right here. The New York Mets are also going to assume the $72 million remaining in Marcus Semien's deal. If you believe it or not, he's actually more than halfway done his deal, because he signed originally for a 7-year deal. He's got about 3 years left, worth of $24 million for the last couple years, or $26 million, and then $20 million in the last year. And then over on Nimmo's side of things, you've got $101.25 million is what is owed to Nimmo. So you're going to have the Texas Rangers paying that. So essentially, Texas Rangers actually paying for a lot more in an offseason where people were thinking they were going to shed payroll. They actually did the opposite and added more payroll. Now, I know the Mets are sending like $5 million over to Texas, but really that doesn't mean much. So like that's the money thing right there. Just looking at that right now, it is a little bit confusing to me because of what I just said. Like, I don't really understand what the Rangers are trying to do, adding on more payroll to this team.
Yeah, so you attack on that additional $5 million, and basically, Texas is taking on an additional like $20-odd million. Mets are shedding $20 million roughly, right? So there's got to be a big difference in these players. They got to be needle movers, right? Maybe they are, depending on what it is that you're looking for. On the Texas Rangers side of things, who now own Brandon Nimmo, he is certainly a better bat at this point of his career than Marcus Semien. And you could argue, well, I don't think he's had the same ceiling as Marcus Semien, because Marcus Semien did have some crazy blow-up years, but he's certainly been more consistent in his career than Marcus Semien. Yeah. Semien's been kind of up and down and up and down. He'll have an incredible year and then a couple down years, whereas Brandon Nimmo is just kind of across the board like, I am very good at hitting, and I will continue to be very good at hitting. He's also significantly younger than Marcus Semien. He's got 3 years on him, which, that's got to be worth something, right? Is it worth $20 more million? You tell me. Clearly the Texas Rangers think so, but they definitely upgraded their offense a little bit with this move, which is important because their offense did not look good at all last year.
No, they didn't, right? Now, I do think, obviously, getting younger is always better. If they have the financial flexibility, that's always a great way to do it. Now, I always looked at Marcus Semien, and I thought, like, if they get rid of this guy, that'd be great, like, because you want to shed the contract. Because when you look over at Marcus Semien, his last couple years, offensively speaking, it's been pretty bad. He had a .699 the year before. That's what everyone was starting to think, like, oh, Jesus, it's starting to be a decline of Marcus Semien. Well, he follows it up with a .669 the following year at age 34. The batting average is low. It's always been relatively low, but still pretty low, around that .230 mark those 2 years.
Yeah, we're just not hitting home runs, right?
That's always been his thing. Like when he was with Toronto, had that 48 or 45 home run season, and that's what got him signed. Then he had another big season with the Texas Rangers, and then throwing up 29 in that World Series year. And then after that, just not really that much. Now, the one thing is he does have some pretty good defense at second base. He's won a Gold Glove in the past. In fact, he's actually won 2 Gold Gloves. So, that's something maybe the Mets are looking for, some defense, some more veteran presence, and not so worried about a bat. Now, I think what kind of completes all this if you're from the Mets point of view and you're dumping off Brendan Nimmo, who's an outfielder, and you're getting Marcus Semien, who's an infielder, okay, if I'm looking at this, all right, I just shed some contract, with some payroll, which is good, because if I'm the Mets, I want to be going out and spending a lot of money. We broke that down on a podcast. We want to be spending a lot of money this winter because we need a lot of pitching, and blah, blah, blah. But now I've opened up an outfield spot. And who's the biggest guy on the market right now for outfielders? Well, there's Kyle Tucker, and there's also Cody Bellinger. So if they're looking to get a little bit younger and a little bit better in the outfield, maybe that's an avenue. Maybe they open up something there.
Yeah, I feel like it's got to be something like that, because I'll be honest, I don't really like this deal. I think I don't like this deal from the Mets perspective more than the Rangers perspective. Like, the Rangers, they have really good pitching over there, and they need some more hitting, and Marcus Semien's getting older, and I wouldn't trust that bat. Now, you're sacrificing a little bit of defense, but I do think that ultimately Brandon Nimmo is just going to be a more productive player over, the next 3 years, for instance, than the next 3 years of Marcus Semien, right? Because that's what you're asking for. Like, forget what they've done up until this point. Is Marcus Semien's age, 36, 37, 38 season going to be as good as Brandon Nimmo's 33, 34, 35? Right. I think I'm taking Brandon Nimmo right there. So I actually kind of like this a little bit from the Rangers' perspective, and they have him slotted right here, like right at the tippity top of their lineup. So that's going to be really nice for them. If they do end up holding on to Corey Seager, because there's been some like rumors and rumblings about them, maybe even trading him. If they did that, I think that would be fucking crazy. Because like, then what are we doing right now? But if they do hold on to him, now you're actually looking at a significant like top 3. If Jock Peterson can get his shit together, top 4, where it's like, all right, we can do something here. Over on the New York Mets side of things, for me, this does come down to that subsequent addition. Like, your lineup, which was supposed to be world-beating last year, was kind of meh. And and it needed to be better, right? Like, that was one of the bigger disappointments for a team that spends $350 million, like being ranked 9th in OPS. That's just not good enough, right? So, and Brandon Nimmo was a key factor of that. You just made that a little bit worse. You just added in a guy who's 35 years old, going to be turning 36. So that to me doesn't sound great. Now, if you do slot in a Kyle Tucker into all of this, that will change things for me. I also think that this is stupid. I don't see Marcus Semien batting second for them. That's just not going to happen.
Also, MLB Fox Network came out and like projected Marcus Semien batting second, and I'm like, dude,
not at this point.
Not at this point anymore. Obviously, you're hoping that spot becomes either like a Kyle Tucker or Cody Bellinger, or you get back Pete Alonso and you throw him in the top.
Throw Jeff McNeil up there. He's got a good on base. He's got good batting.
Yeah, I like it too. And they're also thinking about trading Jeff McNeil this offseason. There's a lot of weird moving parts, but maybe that was the outfielder that they ended up trading was Brandon Nimmo. Like, they wanted to clear up some outfield spot. Again, like, it only makes sense if you go and you add a big bat like either a Tucker or a Bellinger, because you cleared some payroll. Congrats. And like we said, we broke it down before, you really got to fix that pitching staff. You really need to go get the Valdez's or the Suarez's or the Cease of the world, and that's going to cost you a few $100 million of commitment right there to get a couple of those guys, and then you got to go get the big bat. And then it's like, okay, now we could go and compete again in the NL.
See, do you mind just pulling up the Mets payroll if you can? Yeah. Like, for me, when does the limit in the line actually hit here? Because now, so you just took you shed payroll. You still took on a guy who's got a ton of money attached to him, right? So, okay, yeah, you shed a tiny little baby bit of payroll for this year, but you still have a ton of money right there. And I would imagine the average annual values of Brandon Nimmo and Marcus Semien are relatively...
Marcus Semien's more by like
more.
$6 million, but you're getting rid of him quicker.
That's the thing. So you shed over, like, for years from now, but actually for next year, your payroll is going to go up from that move. You still need to, as we're talking about right now, you still need to go out and acquire some big-time starter. So tack on, let's say, at least $25 million right there from a year-to-year standpoint, $25 million. You're going to have some other little baby moves factoring into this thing, bullpen and various others, and maybe another starter right there. So let's throw in another $20 million, $25 million, let's say, in terms of just like, recuperating some value, because you're losing Edwin Diaz right now. You got to get a bullpen guy right there. You got to get some other people. So say $50 million just on the pitching. That's going to bring you up to $300 million. And then on top of that, they're also going to get like Kyle Tucker? Like
yeah, like last year they had $342 million. So actually, if you just added Kyle Tucker, you're right back to where you were. You're right back to where you were last year.
That's crazy.
But now you got
man.
more pitching, and you need it. I know. And that's the thing. They're never gonna fall below the luxury tax. I know that like the Yankees are kind of flirting with the idea of like trying to get under $300 million for next year. But we're quickly seeing, not to change the subject totally, we're quickly seeing how them trying to stay under $300 million is really starting to hurt them, because now they only have like room for one more move after Trent Grisham signed back his qualifying offer. Not to completely derail the conversation, but point being here is like they're gonna have to go and at least match that again, if not surpass that, if they want a winning team yet again.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big problem here is like, yeah. Oh, and we're not even talking about Pete Alonso too.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, like,
so that's the thing, right? Like, okay, now I see it, right? I'm like, how did they drop so much money? Well, you don't have Pete Alonso on the books anymore. You don't have Edwin Diaz on the books anymore. That's legitimately over $50 million just between the two of them right there. And I'm sure that we could go down the line a little bit and see a couple other guys right there. But either way, I mean, it's just wild to me that already the Mets are on the hook for about $250 million, and now they're adding more money to that in Marcus Semien for next year. They still, now it's like, okay, well, we got to get an outfielder. Who's going to be there? We're going to have to go pay for an outfielder now if we actually want to be seriously competitive.
Tyrone Taylor's not going to cut it.
Like, oh, what? Cody Bellinger is the bargain pick? That guy's on thinking that he could get paid close to $200 million. And then on top of all of that, what? You're going to walk in with your rookie pitcher as your number 2 in your rotation? That doesn't feel right to me either. So you're going to have to go out and you're going to have to get somebody like a Dylan Cease, maybe even more than one. And then on top of all of that, you're going to have to replace Edwin Diaz, the best closer in all of baseball. I mean, it feels like $350 million at this point is kind of going to be like a, like we underspent. Like I could see these guys getting to the high 300s on, like if they do all of it.
They need to spend. They might need to spend. I was just checking that this will be a record-breaking year for them if they want to be competitive. They have to. Like again, because you look at the lineup, we just looked at it. Bad. Or not bad, but not as good as it was.
Like
obviously,
no Pete Alonso, and you just got rid of Nimmo.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you got Juan Soto, you got Francisco Lindor, and those guys can have great years, and that them alone can like bring your offense into the top 15. But you're gonna need more with that pitching staff. So overall, if we were to grade the trade for the Rangers and the Mets, where would you give them in terms of like just school gradings?
It's I find that this one's really difficult because I almost want to cop out and say like too early to call, because like I got to see the subsequent follow-up move to all of this. But for right now,
just in a vacuum right here.
I don't know, man. Like I don't really love this for New York. I'll say that this is a C-, and it's a C+, B- for Texas.
Yeah, like I'm gonna lean Texas. Like forget money. I mean, money isn't real in baseball anymore, especially with these big market teams. I don't care. It's like a difference of like per year $5 to $6 million average annual value. That's nothing. That's chump change to these guys. But yeah, you're getting a better bat in Nimmo. You're getting a younger guy for longer. It's honestly kind of good to dump Marks' contract because we thought he'd be kind of aging like he is right now. It's a little bit early for him. I thought it'd be happening right now, but he's already been aging for the last couple of years. So dumping him is good. Yeah, give me like a B for the Rangers and like a C- for the Mets.
And look, the money only ever matters, when you're tying it to the player, right? So I'm actually, the way I'm looking at it now is I think that monetarily speaking, this actually worked out better for Texas because I know that they're taking on more overall contract, but if Marcus Semien puts up a 650 OPS, I mean, like that money's just getting burned.
But Gold Glove defense.
You know what I mean?
He's basically Andres Gimenez but older.
And gets paid a lot more a year, right? Whereas like Brandon Nimmo, okay, like you have more money there, but less year to year. And I think that money is going to go a lot further for you just in terms of overall production than all the money that you're spending on Marcus Semien. So, I mean, if Marcus Semien does what I think he's going to do next year, which is not a whole lot, like that's just like 25 or however much he gets paid a year. Like that's just up in smoke.
And hopefully it's getting burned down in that 8 spot for them if they go get some other bats. But yeah, that's 25 million, 26 million in that 8 spot, just burning.
That's
burning
a
all
lot,
in your
man.
pocket.
Like that's
Yeah.
a shitload.
Yep.
Look, this is it's gonna come down to what they do after this. But the answer is, as it's been for a while for the New York Mets, is you're just gonna have to now spend even more than you've already spent, and it's just this snowball effect where unless these guys that are on these big time deals start overperforming, it's always going to be like we got to keep spending, right?
Yeah,
it's always going to be the way.
Steve Cohen's a businessman, and he sees a business that was failing last year. He's got to reinvest, and I honestly think I could see them getting over the $400 million mark when it's all said and done this offseason. If they don't, then they've lost. It's simple as that. They need to get over the $400 million mark.
Maybe, man. It'll be interesting to see how this all pieces together for New York. But, folks, let us know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below. Was this a good move by the New York Mets? Maybe we're not seeing something right here. If we are missing something, please comment that down below. Hit that like, smash that subscribe button, and we will catch you next time.
Cheers.